Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another installment in our new figure showcase series, where I take a look at a new figure I'm adding into the collection. More often than not, it will be a more recent release. And for today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Rocket and Cosmo 2-pack by Hot Toys based on both characters' appearance in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. So I hope by now you've all seen the movie, which packs a surprising emotional punch, and Rocket is very much at the heart of the movie. Having said that, this is now, I think, the 5th version of Rocket that we've gotten, with versions from the first 2 Guardians movies as well as Infinity War and Endgame. He's always been a great character, and the design has lent itself to some great releases. The original with the big Groot 2-pack remains one of my favorite sets to date, with Rocket in that orange jumpsuit. But this version we're getting him in has the team suit from that final battle in Guardians 3. And look, I like the suit. I like that it's a different look for Rocket. When you have all the different versions, I appreciate having something that sets each Rocket apart. So nice to have something just that adds to the variety. Other change that Hot Toys surprised us with was a different expression, which was added really late in the game. We've been getting a bunch of similar releases where Hot Toys has unexpectedly changed the sculpt. Lately I do feel like it's been for the best. But here it's nice that we got another Rocket sculpt, as Hot Toys has been reusing the previous ones for a bit, so nice to get a little change. So let's take a look at what we're getting here from Hot Toys. And again, to reiterate, this is a 2-pack with Rocket and Cosmo. Beyond that, you're getting a few alternate hands, some blaster pistols and a blaster rifle, as well as the little card device that Rocket manufactures to unlock his cage. So nice touch here. And that's pretty much it, other than the standard display stand that includes Rocket's name and a smaller flexible flight pole to let you get him in some dynamic poses. So look, without a doubt to me, it's evident that they threw in Cosmo to flesh out the set a little bit. While Rocket is the key character here, without Cosmo it is a fairly bare bones release. But let's jump into those accessories, and as we normally do, we'll start with the hands, which again, not many here, but you do get a few very small scale ones as expected. And look, they're surprisingly detailed, with the fingerless gloves having some nice texture on the back of the hand, as well as the slender fingers with a decent paint app, although the fur almost seems like it has a slight metallic feel to it. Here you are going to notice one of the first issues with my release. I did end up getting 2 left fists. Not that I have any intention of using those fists, but this is a QA/QC fail here. Hopefully it's something that'll be easily resolved, but again, very annoying. Next up, you get his 2 blasters. Both are identical, so don't go expecting any major paint differences or sculpt differences, but they look good. The grip does feel a bit plastic, but the body of the pistols has a great metallic paint app to it that includes some great weathering throughout. There is also a ton of detail on the surface, with various details running along it, and even what looks like some gears tight above the trigger. But without a doubt, the highlight weapon for me has to be the rifle of sorts. First of all, paint apps are amazing, with a nice silver weathered look, as well as a bit of purple on either side. The rifle also includes some raised elements on either side that expose the inner workings of the weapon, including some exposed bronze wiring on the top. So very nicely done, with a very cool looking double barrel at the front with some bits of blue metallic paint. And at the bottom you have what almost seems like a clipper magazine of sorts. Other highlight, this does connect to Rocket's back magnetically, so that's a great display option. And the final accessory, as we mentioned in the overview, is that card that Rocket kind of manufactures to escape from the prison cell where he's being held with his friends. So nice detail here with the nice gold or almost bronze-like metallic piece, and almost the nice little bolts and rivets in the various screens throughout on the front and the back. So it's a very small piece, but very nice, and it's nice given the significance of from the movie as well. Okay, so now let's get to the figure, and we're going to start with the sculpt. Look, I think Hot Toys did a solid job here. Detail on the hair and the fur is pretty solid. Paint apps, though, on the dark brown are pretty interesting. In hand, they almost have a metallic look to them, like I mentioned with the hands. Looks decent enough, but I think the lighter patches of fur definitely look better. His snout kind of has a nice degree of detailing too, with the fur layered into the sculpt. The eyes, phenomenal. In hand, they look almost glass-like, so very realistic. Now the whiskers, same old here. We've seen this done with all the other Hot Toys releases of Rocket, and it works, but I do hate that the whiskers are all splayed out in every which way. Looks a little sloppy, to be honest. But now we gotta get to the expression. I guess Hot Toys was going for sort of half smile or even a grin. So he has one eye squinting a bit, and his smile is only showing some of his teeth. It's interesting. Does it capture Rocket's personality? I think it does, but I don't think this is the best Rocket sculpt we've seen to date. Now the rest of the figure is pretty nice, although I will point out that mine had some dirt along the collar. At first I thought it was damaged, but it's just dirt, so I could easily wipe it away. Just not sure about the handling of this one, especially when you throw in the wrong hands. Now I like the team suit a lot, like I mentioned, just my opinion, but I do like things like the logo on the chest and the blue and red. It is, the color is muted, so it's not something that immediately pops, but I love the detail here with the front panel of the shirt, the gauntlets and the shoulder pads with the little silver button details. They're surprisingly busy suits with some varied texture along the knees and the arms. It's pretty impressive to think that they got these down to the smaller scale. Now Rocket also does have boots that have a nice metallic foot to them and do include ankle articulation, so that's always a plus. Tail, again, very similar paint apps to the darker fur, and you do have some posability being able to rotate and extend it slightly on a ball joint. Now let's look at Cosmo, and I for one am happy to get this character, although if we're being honest, would have probably preferred getting a Howard the Duck, or if not those, at least one of Rocket's friends, particularly Lila, who Rocket does have a great connection to, albeit a very heartbreaking one. But look, not going to complain too much about another character, but Cosmo is essentially a power pose here. Sure, you can articulate the head and swivel it sideways, and the forward legs and paws do move a little bit, but it's not much. Having said that, I do think the detail work on the sculpt is awesome, and Hot Toys did capture the eyes and the nice open mouth look well. Maybe it's because I love dogs, but it's a great sculpt, and the paws are nicely done too with sculpted in fur, and there's just a great feel to the animal that they gave us here. As far as the suit, pretty nice too, with the molded texture throughout and the nice details on the collar in particular, with the speaker and the panels. I do think it's a pretty decent companion piece. So look, the star of the show though has to be Rocket, and maybe it's just how I feel right now when I'm recording this, but I wish I could tell you I was over the moon excited about having this guy in hand. I do think he looks great, and I'm not disappointed at all. I appreciate the different look because I feel like at least I'm getting some value there, and I love the movie, and he is a pivotal, if not the pivotal character, but it's a very simple release, and maybe in the sea of rockets we've gotten from Hot Toys, from that first one that looks great with Groot to the second deluxe with the flight pack, this one doesn't seem as impressive. Again, not a knock on it because it's still a great figure, just I think some of the previous ones have been overall better packages. And look, like I said, it's still a beautiful release. I think the suit is awesome, and maybe I'll start feeling differently about the figure once I get the other Guardians in hand and have the entire team, or at least the team Hot Toys has released, together. And posability wise, he's great with good bends on the elbows and just a lot of nice poses to attain. And he stands on his own, which has always been a problem with the earlier versions of Rocket. So there's still a lot to like, and Cosmo is a great plus. So look, that's a quick review of the Guardians 3 Rocket and Cosmo. A very solid release. I know the end maybe sounded a little negative, but it just feels like if you have other versions, this one might not be necessary. But if you do pick him up, I don't think he'll disappoint. Although hopefully yours doesn't have some of the quality issues mine had. So short video on this one, but let me know your thoughts, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll touch base on the next video.